Hi, I'm Beth Reese, host of the Amazing Way podcast, and welcome. This is our first episode, and I could think of no one better in the whole world to have as my first guest than my daughter, Jordan. And we're actually here in LA right now. I'm here to celebrate her 19th birthday, hard to believe. And so thank you. Thanks for being here. So I want to go ahead and introduce Jordan. I've actually taken some notes so I can make sure I get it straight without, going off on a lot of tangents about how awesome she is, completely subjective. So Jordan is a first-year student here at UCLA, and she's in the School of Theater, Film, and Television. She's been a filmmaker for over a decade, and during part of that time, she was a filmmaker while attending Montessori school from 18 months until she graduated from high school. And she's already worked as a professional editor, and she has made, how many films would you say you've made?
I don't know.
330, 300?
So many of them are lost that I don't know.
She's made a few. In any case, so she's in everything. She's been in front of the camera, but mostly behind the camera, and her passion and what brings her to be in film and television school is directing. She does have 2 award-winning films that you can see on her YouTube channel, Jordan Barger, and those films are Milky White, Rosy Petals. I play a cameo. Not really a cameo. I play a role in it.
Yeah, it's not really you.
Not really me. In any case, so that one again, Milky White, Rosy Petals, and then more recently, White Converse. And that was fun. She won an award on her way to college. So that was a good adventure we had going from city to city. So Jordan, I've asked you to be here and sharing, the Amazing Way podcast is really about bringing mindfulness and yoga on and off the mat to kids, families, and parents. And as I've often shared, part of the inspiration for me was, so we learned when you were 6 that you have what some people call sensory processing challenges. And I know I've described it in that moment that we were shared, that's what was going on, that it was really a moment where I felt like, oh, great, I'm not like a bad mom. And at one time you described it, you were like, phew, see, like I'm not a bad kid. This is just like, I have blue eyes, I have sensory processing stuff, I have size 4 shoe, right? Like no big deal. So, and one of the things I'm curious about for you, and I know, we were visiting before hitting record, that it isn't so much that you remember when you were 6 years old, what it was like to manage when your senses get overloaded. And I wonder, though, if you could describe to help give parents and teachers an idea, like what it does feel like is going on in your body as your senses go, or your dendrites in your brain, right, go from like cruising along, all happy, to literally what they say, like the dendrites in the brain start misfiring. So what does that feel like for you?
I would say it feels like, I used to describe it when I was little, like I was watching a movie in a movie theater, and all of a sudden, like, my body just, like, my mind just took a step back from my body, and, like, everything I was watching was, like, it was, like, a movie. So basically it just feels like since I'm doing things that I don't necessarily want to be doing, like, I would just start doing them. Like, usually I'll have a filter and be like, oh, no, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't say that, this and that. And then because I'm processing it slower, at a slower rate than normal, I do things before I can even process what's happening. So then, like, later on, I'm like, wait, no. And then sometimes, depending on what you can do, it culminates in, like, a temper tantrum or something. And it's not that, like, these kids want to be throwing temper tantrums. It's that they actually just can't help it. And, like, it's not that, like, literally, like, I never wanted to do this, I never wanted to say that, but it just happens because I can't process what's actually happening in my body until after I've already done it.
So, so can we take that on the court real quick with an experience? So, and Jordan knows, and I also want to say that from the moment, even before the first time I spoke about this, and I said, Jordan, like, are you okay? I think it was an article like 10 years ago for Prana, And I said, are you okay if I talk about this? And she was like, you're probably then like, I guess like, 8 or 9 years old. And you were like, well, why wouldn't you talk about it? Like, why wouldn't it be okay to talk about it? Which I really respect, that just right, that you get, like, it's not, and what something I would love for parents and teachers and other kids to get is, it isn't that something's wrong. It's that, just what Jordan said, and I love the way you put that it's like, there are moments when things start to, it's almost like things are working at a different rate, right? And so your actions are moving more quickly than the regulation to control them. Do I have that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so one of the stories I often tell was in the Salt Lake City airport, which I don't even think you remember that. And and Jordan was frustrated and threw a chair at me. So, oh God. So right. So when I say that, right, it's like, and like, right, we're still here. What I'm guessing though is that your body, like, in just that need to like manage this, like, before you could even say, like, and cut, don't do that, right? Like, it just happened. Yeah. Is that kind of how it feels to you? I mean, it's like ideas just like pop into your head, like, no, I shouldn't do that. Like, it's like your instincts. I'm gonna throw a chair at someone, apparently. Then you're like, wait, no, I'm not gonna do that. But like, the process just doesn't allow you to happen to think that through. Yeah, so maybe in filmmaking, it's like, right, as the director, you want to say, like, cut the scene, but the actors keep continuing. And you're like, no, I said cut. Yeah. Anyway, so great, thank you. So that's kind of how our lives were going when Jordan was like 6. And then in that moment, like, I thought, like, Jordan's such an awesome kid. It's not like her to throw a chair at me. So we did end up going to see an occupational therapist, who then said, like, you're not going to grow out of it, you're going to grow into it. And so we started learning some really cool techniques. One of those techniques that I feel like the universe gave to me was flower power breath, right? Should we demonstrate that? Okay, ready? So you're going to pick a flower. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Sarah, do some more calm. Like, it really works. So, all right, so Jordan, and again, like, in our attempt to be really authentic about what Jordan remembers and doesn't remember, I happen to know that, like, Jordan, after I taught her flower power, she shared it with some friends at school, and then they shared it with people, and then the teachers eventually brought me in, like, well, what is this that's going on? Like, all the kids need this. And Jordan doesn't remember that, and it's okay. And by then, I think you were probably 8, so it would have been like 4th grade. In any case, what I'm curious about is, I also happen to know, like, I remember you learning how to drive, and I would, like, over here in my ear, hear you doing flower power breath. What are maybe some other cases in the last few years or months? So, and what I'm trying to get at is, so flower power breath when you're 6 years old works, and then here we are, first year student in college, and maybe you're not running around picking flowers as you're walking around. You're doing the too cool for school version. But what are some times when maybe it's helped? I mean, whenever you're, like, feeling overwhelmed, or like you're, like, anxious or stressed about, like, a certain project, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm not gonna get this done. And you just, like, you take a second to breathe. And like I said, like, it does help. Like, all of a sudden you just feel refreshed, like, okay, I got this, like, it's gonna be fine. It's like any moment whenever you just, like, need it. Also, whenever, like, I'm running, I do flower power so I can breathe. I mean, it helps in everything. Just breathing and regulating that in general. That's awesome. I remember when I was here moving you in, and we had a time slot to move in late, and then we were trying to get everything done really quickly. And, like, what I remember is we were in the room together, and, like, we'd forgotten each other were there. And then, like, we weren't, like, fighting or yelling, but it was like, okay, this here. And then you stopped and you said, Mom, can we just do flower power for a minute and, like, get reconnected? And it was so amazing because we, like, just looked at each other and took a couple of breaths. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, that's right. Like, we're here in this space together. And then it was just the rest of the next hour was like, oh, I'm, like, getting all teary-eyed. The rest of the hour was like all, like, calm and peaceful. Whew, wasn't expecting that. All right, so So anything you, Jordan, would want to share, again, imagining there are teachers and parents listening, about what it has meant for you to have this tool in your pocket where that helps you pause, and maybe it's like your brain then gives it time to catch up to the moment, to the scene. What has that meant for you?
I mean, it's just like, so you're never supposed to make any decisions when you're emotional, like either happy or mad or sad or angry, mad and angry. But like just like clear your brain of anything, like, and actually process it for like what it is, not like what it isn't, or like what you're making it out to be, has been really helpful. I mean, like, I think that it can be helpful for anyone, because like especially today, like we have a lot of angry people that are angry at each other for so many different things. And I think that if people knew how to breathe, they might think about like what they're saying or like what they're doing. And I think that it's really important just to breathe sometimes. I mean, in class, teachers are always like, you should breathe. And then whenever people are freaking out, I'm like, just breathe. And like Apple now has like the Breathe app, so like it's like a thing that people are like really like, starting to acknowledge. Like, it's really important to learn how to breathe and regulate your breathing, because just that one thing can change like maybe your whole life even.
Right, just that moment to pause. Really great. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Mom.